Hey, it's Alice. I'm back with a market update for the Canadian real estate market and a quick Victoria, BC market update as well. So quickly, I just want to update my Victoria people on what's happening sales-wise for the Victoria real estate market. We have done 395 sales so far by, what was it published? October 22nd. So 395 sales, whereas last year we did 664 sales. Now, listings are at about 683, I believe, and last year we did 979 listings, so we're about 69% of the way there for listings, and it's pretty much right on track. Sales are at about 60% of last year, so that's still, it's right on track. It'll probably be about the same, I suspect. Listings will probably be a little bit higher, but same. Active listings are at 2567. Those are consistently hanging around the almost 2600 mark. I suspect by the end of the month that number will be probably 2600, and it's been like that since summer. So the sales aren't really hacking away at that active listing number, and that's still a low number of listings, but it's a heck of a lot higher than where we were before. That's about 34% more than last year. So anyways, that's a snapshot of where the Victoria market is. It's not hard to beat, 700 sales of last year. It's not a lot of sales. I mean, there's 4,000 something real estate agents in Victoria, so you do the math, it's not very busy. But anyways, the biggest thing that has happened this week is the interest rates have gone up again. Bank of Canada has raised the benchmark rate from 1.5% to 1.75%, so that's a quarter-point increase. I believe all the big four banks like BMO and everything like that, they've gone up as well, so they've raised their prime rates. I think they're sitting around like 3.75% or 3.95%. You can check the websites. But anyways, yeah, they've all hiked up their rates, and that's effective this morning. Like, they announced it yesterday afternoon, I believe. And so yeah, it's in effect now. If you're on a fixed rate mortgage, good for you until your term is up. And if you're on an adjusting floating one, then yeah, you'll probably start to see it. You might notice a $50 to $200 increase over time. This is something to expect in my meetings that, we have with mortgage brokers and all those kind of people that deal with financing. They're basically saying that this is to be expected. It seems that they are the Bank of Canada is trying to get to that 3% neutral benchmark area. So until they get there, obviously they're going to keep hiking those rates. And we've seen these come up since 2017. They're slowly raising them in increments, and we're told to be expecting like 5 more, sequentially, not like all at once, but probably over the next 6 months to a year. They'll probably be raising them, approximately 5 times. So just be ready for that. If you are buying, if it's been raised now and you are just getting pre-approved, try and get a rate lock at least. So if you're shopping around, your lender might be able to lock in your rate for up to 3 months. That's never written in stone, but it's just something to think about, because if they're going to keep hiking rates, if you're taking a long time to buy, you're going to kind of lose out on that lower rate. And it does make a difference financially, right? Every little bit counts. So it's just something to keep in mind. And, I'm seeing a lot of news articles that are talking about these rate increases. And the thing that strikes me the most is how hot the economy is, according to the government and the Bank of Canada, and that's the reason why they're raising these rates, is because the economy is so hot they can weather the storm, and it's going to help cool the market. And I just think it's really interesting, because I'm talking to a lot of people that are high income earners, like government workers, not super high income, but like $90,000 a year, not including their spouse's income. I think that's pretty good income, and they're looking for second jobs. And so if I'm talking to people like that, and I'm reading news articles where people are being surveyed, and 40% of the people being surveyed are worried about being foreclosed on if the rates keep going up, it's kind of like, it's disconcerting, because I honestly wouldn't think that many people would be worried about being foreclosed on, but just going from the people that I come across in my day-to-day life, I mean, if you're making $90,000 a year and you're looking for a second job to work on the weekends, like I'm talking people working 7 days a week, you know, they have kids and a wife and yada yada, but you know, I'm seeing that more and more. And before I wasn't seeing that. In the past 3 or 4 years, I wasn't seeing people needing second jobs to make ends meet. And it's not saying, oh, I'm having a side hustle to pay for a vacation or buy a new car. It's, I need a side hustle because we have a shortfall in our budget. Like, I'm hearing people $1,000, $500, like, shortfall, not covering their actual expenses. They need those jobs. And so to me, that's not a good sign that the economy is really all that hot. So when I see that in the news articles about why they're raising interest rates, it seems kind of like BS to me a little bit. Especially because when they talk about all these jobs that have been created, and I'm sure they're trying to make Trudeau look good or whatever, pretty boy, they are saying that there's all these jobs, and to me and everybody I talk to, it just seems like they're retail jobs. You know, like in Victoria, if you take a retail job, you can't pay your bills. Like, you're probably living with a lot of roommates, or you're living with your parents, or you are barely feeding yourself. But, you know, even $15 an hour in Victoria doesn't get you very far, and I'm sure in Vancouver that is the same story. So creating retail jobs, to me, does not equate to a hot economy. But I digress. Anyways, that's my take on the interest rates. Just beware, they are going to be going up more, and this is not the end of it, so you've been warned. They are also reporting that in July.com, it's like the Chinese equivalent to Amazon, they're noticing, because Chinese buyers died off a lot in Vancouver over the past year, they've ghosted us. But in the past little while, like since July apparently, they're having a lot of searches on properties on July.com, because like they shouldn't, but people like real estate agents like me are listing properties on July. So like that's like me listing a property on Amazon for Chinese people, which I don't agree with. But anyways, they are finding that they're searching for properties under 800,000 or around 800,000. So those Chinese buyers are targeting lower end properties, or you know, mid-range condos. I'm suspecting condos can be in the millions in Vancouver, but yeah, so that's happening, and I'm finding it unfortunate because it's kind of like, you guys have done enough damage, why don't you stay out of our market? But just sharing what I'm hearing. So that's another thing to keep an eye on. I'm hoping that it doesn't become a thing and, you know, it kind of dies off, but a lot of people are suspecting it's because China's economy or their markets are really not doing well, and you know, if they have investments in properties in China that are looking like they might take a downturn, they're probably looking to put their money elsewhere, not in China, which is what they've always been doing anyways, so what's the difference? But other than that, yeah, Toronto and Vancouver are suffering. I'm really interested to see what the end of the month brings for Vancouver. It's just basically inventory sounds like it's stacking up, and those 1-bedroom condos are what's moving, and anything above that is not really moving. Lots of price drops, lots of Facebook groups that are sharing price drops, which I think is kind of funny. You know, like for example, I was looking at these properties in Sydney, BC, because I was doing a market evaluation for a property, and I was trying to find comparable properties for these people that I'm helping. And their property is right by the water. It's a block away from the water. It's a nice character home. It's really sweet. And, you know, when you do comparables, you look for houses of the same nature. And the trouble with that was that everything that had sold in the past 6 months was like a 1970s style box home. And it didn't compare to their character home by the water, even though the beds and baths were the same numbers and square footage. So I was looking at waterfront homes, and I just came across this one home that was in Land's End, which is like, it's like, you know, a high-end area of the peninsula. It's waterfront, and it's really, really nice. But this person had this desperate kind of listing, and they're basically selling a luxury property on the waterfront. It's really nice, but they're like saying, oh, motivated seller willing to drop to any price, and blah, blah, blah. And it was priced at 1.9, no. It was priced at 4.8 million, and they're motivated, and they had dropped that from 5 million, and it's been on the market like a year and a half. It's been relisted twice. And the funny thing is, I'm like, if you're so motivated, like they bought it in 2015, Yeah, they bought it in 2015 for 1.5 million. And now they're selling it for 4.8 million, even though they listed it for 5 million, and they're motivated to sell, but they're not willing to drop it below that, and it's like the price is just hovering at 4.8 million. But it just was like kind of hilarious, because in a snapshot, it's like the market in general, it's just like everybody wants to get their profit out of their lottery winnings, which is their home, and they're not willing to drop the price. But it's like, baby, how far have you come? Like, you bought it for 1.5 million and you're not willing to drop it farther to make the sale. Like, it's just, it blows my mind, you know. And if you are in Vancouver and you're seeing local news, it's basically the same thing. If they go to open houses, like a newscaster goes to an open house to talk to a real estate agent, they're all saying the same thing, that sellers are just not willing to drop their prices. Like, that's the one thing that, at least in my area, is the sales prices are not going that much lower. It's just they're sitting and they're going stale because people are not willing to drop their price. People are so addicted to those lottery winning prices that, yeah, it'll be interesting. But I think once people need to start selling, and there's divorces and there's deaths, things will start selling and people will have to drop their prices and it'll chase to the bottom. But yeah, lots of news articles saying it's a buyer's market. Oh, you know, condo sales in Vancouver are a buyer's market, and that may be so compared to the last few years, but I still think it's got a long way to go. I don't think we're there yet, but anyways, that's what I got for this week. Also, we're coming up to Halloween pretty quick, and I wanted to share a movie that you could watch if you are interested in slasher movies from the 80s about real estate agents. Yeah, I will put a link in the description if you want to watch it, but I haven't even watched it myself. I'm saving it for Halloween, but I'm going to put a few clips in because it's about a slasher who goes and slashes newbie young real estate agents at their open houses, apparently, because he's mad about the prices. So I think a lot of people could probably relate, and I wouldn't say go slash real estate agents, but it might be fun to watch that for Halloween. I don't know. Anyways, I'll share it. And yeah, if you hear anything else about what's going on in the market, I'd love to hear it. I love emails. I get them all the time and I love them. I love talking to people. And yeah, if you want to comment, you can comment below, or you could subscribe, or you can like my video. And that's it for this week, and I will be back with more next week. So take care and enjoy this horrible rain. It'll probably stay all weekend, so enjoy. Bye.
I'll take the house.
Come again?
That's what they all done to me. And all the others. They made homes too damn expensive. And it's all the real estate people's fault.
Secret.
So here is where the actual body was found.
Imagine this couple's shock when they discovered a skull in their backyard.
You could never be prepared for somebody to look at you and say, a serial killer's been living in your house.
Scott and Laura Cote say that when they bought their home, they were never told that the bodies of two murdered women were buried on the property in the 80s.